Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Olympus Reptiles, and in a recent video we kind of talked about the reptile market. Is it boom or bust, or what's really going on with it? And one of the things we spoke about is how I really don't believe anything out there is going to replace the ball python, because of how perfect the ball python is for a lot of the new people coming in, and just it's just too great of an animal, right, for that. So that's why I always think we're going to see that decline, but we're going to see that bounce back, which we already kind of covered. But there was a few suggestions made and a few other ones that we've thought about that could they possibly replace it? Maybe. I doubt it. But could they cut out their own piece of that market? Like if I was going to be a person who said, I'm done with ball pythons, what would I look to get into that could be a stable market that has a chance to start to grow and take over a part of that? So let's talk about one of those today. And the first one we're going to talk about is your STPs. Bam, bam, bam. Also known as your bloods. Wow. Bloods. Or your Sumatras, whatever you want to call them. So what we're going to talk about is these guys right here. And do they share some similarities to the ball python that will let them make their own mark and grow? Because all of these animals we're going to talk about already have their own niche market, right? I've got two Gila monsters in the other room. Gila monsters have a niche market. If you talk to somebody who loves Gila monsters, they're going to tell you why they're great, myself included. But is it a market that's going to grow and have growth in it? Gila monsters? Probably not. Blood pythons? Let's look at it. So what is some of the things to really look at on, is this an animal that could be good for a first-time keeper, because that's really where the growth is going to be, or for that intermediate keepers getting their second animal to maybe not have so many ball pythons, people say there's too many. Well, one, size. What is the size of a blood, right? Well, lengthwise, man, this thing's perfect, right? I mean, it's going to be 5 to probably 7 feet. That would be huge, bigger than average. I have heard of even 8, but 5 to 7, pretty safe bet for your length of your blood pythons. Pretty similar to a ball python, right? We saw people about 5 to 6 feet for a ball python. So these are right in that neighborhood. Guys, a foot in a snake doesn't make a difference at all. I promise you, you ain't going to really tell by looking there. A foot is nothing. So these things are going to be a really similar length to a ball python. So they have that going for them. But there's a caveat, right? We talk about a 4,000 gram ball python as being big. Let's say you have a 5,000 gram ball python. Whoa, that would be, what, 10.8 pounds, right? 5 times, no, it'd be 11 pounds. Oh man, my math is bad. So, big ball python is 11 pounds. That would probably be a Volta, and it would be huge. I don't think I own anything that is 5,000 grams. We have some in the 4,000 gram range, which is why we went with that. In in reading from Nerd, so from a reputable source, nobody can come out here and be like, you just read out of some bad thing. They're straight from Nerd's website. How much can a blood python weigh? 30 pounds. Now, I think that's probably not very common. And a lot of times it's probably an overweight snake. But 30 pounds, so would that be, right? So you're looking at 3 times the weight. Same length, but 3 times the weight. So this is a much bigger snake. But it's not a longer snake. And when most people think of size as a concern, they think length, not width. Maybe a few of the ladies in here will disagree with that being as important, but most people when it comes to snakes think about length, not width as a big thing. You tell somebody it's a 12-foot snake, whoa, it's huge, right? Let's look at the difference for the world that I like to be in the venomous world. I mean, you can get yourself, a big old king cobra that's 12 feet long, but an adult gaboon viper might outweigh that thing, even though it's half the length. It's kind of what we're dealing with here. The width, the girth of the body is going to make a difference. So do be prepared. It's going to be a larger snake. But I don't think this hurts it. I think this is still this will take some people out, but most people aren't going to care about that. They're going to be just fine because they're going to worry more about the feet. So size-wise, bloods, man, they're in a great spot. Another thing we always hear about bloods is they're aggressive, right? They're mean. I'm just going to misspell the hell out of that. Right, mean. Mean old blood pythons bite you just for looking at them cross-eyed, everything else. Well, here's the thing, y'all. This, I would say, is probably still slightly true compared to a ball python, but even then it's a stretch. If you go back generations, yes, If you go back generations, most blood pythons that were coming were imported, and they were assholes, man. They were just jerks. But they've been captive bred for multiple generations now, right? So a lot of that is kind of leaving them. They're not coming in from their home country of, Sumatra or Taiwan. They're coming in being born here. So what you have now is this is becoming more of a legend. So this is not necessarily true anymore, okay? It's just not. This is not a thing with them. Occasionally will you have one that's a jerk? Yeah. I got a ball python that's a jerk. 2 of them, 3 of them in fact. It can happen. But if you work with the blood and it's been captive bred multiple generations, there's a good chance you can have a nice, friendly STP or blood python. It does not have to be aggressive and mean. But when you're working sales on that, you got to remember your customers, if they're looking for their first snake, they probably read some old shit on the internet, so be prepared to address this with them. Be prepared to show them this, that look, yeah, I know it's out there, but here's the reason why it's not really true anymore. It used to be true. I mean, you're going to have to kind of talk your way through that when it comes to sales, but it's not a big deal because the data's out there that's kind of going away. So you don't have to worry about that too much at all. But let's talk about this. What about the bite? Well, Kurt, have you been bit by ball pythons and blood pythons? Or is that just me?
I don't think I've been bit by a blood python.
Okay, and Kurt keeps the blood pythons. So that's how aggressive and mean and nasty they are. He keeps them at his place and never been bit. I have unfortunately been bit by a blood, and I've been bit by many balls. The blood python bite is much, much worse. Like, much, much worse. But it's not like reticulated python bad, right? I'm not having to go in and get stitches. It just bled a little more. It just hurts a little more. It's not a big deal. So the bite is worse, but it's not going to be so bad that I think it's going to detract from them being able to cut out their own niche market. So when you start looking right now, man, here's the thing. Why couldn't bloods take over? Why couldn't bloods become the new ball python? Size is good. Weight, some people are going to like that even more. Some people won't. A little different. Got a bad reputation, but it's really not true. We can work our way around that, and the more people who are involved in it, the less this reputation would stick. So, a few other things before we get into some of the bad things. What about lifespan? How long do these guys live? Well, in captivity, you're looking at possibly up to 20 years or so. 15 to 20. Ball pythons are about the same thing. I've heard of ball pythons doing 30 or 40 on occasion. Ball pythons, I would say on average, have a longer lifespan if you look at it now, if you start looking up data. But again, they've been captive bred so much longer, I think this is going to go up, and it's going to be really similar to a ball python. So lifespan, same. They're great there, no problems. What about legality? That's always a thing, right? What I mean by legality is, are these things legal to own where you live? Well, where you live is going to have its own laws. I mean, every city, every municipality, everything is different. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this snake's illegal and this snake isn't, because there's no way I can tell you that, because I don't know where the fuck you're watching this video. So the legality is something you're going to have to check on yourself. But what I can tell you about this is, if a ball python is legal, okay, then this probably is too. I can tell you the closest city to us is Manhattan, Kansas. We do not live in the city limits, so I want to put that out there right now. Meaning I do not have to abide by city ordinance. Thank you. But if I did live in the city ordinance for here states that you cannot have any constrictor over 6 feet in length. So one could argue, well, yeah, if you get a really big one, listen, man, ain't nobody going to show up and measure that thing. If it's way over, they're going to nail you. If it's 6'4", okay, you're going to be fine. So you're going to be fine there. You're not going to have a problem. If you have the same city ordinances that we have, legality is going to be good. They're non-venomous, so legality is going to be good. I've never seen a place list weight and legality, so that shouldn't matter at all. So from a legal standpoint, you're going to be gold, man. You're going to be really good. Should not be an issue to keep these. There may be some places like Florida that may eventually pass some laws because they may decide that they're invasive. Whether or not they are or not, I don't know. But legality, they're going to be pretty good everywhere. So again, that's going to be in their favor. I really like what blood pythons are doing here. Here's the problem. If you go onto Morph Market right now, and you pull up all short-tail pythons, all of them, right? Just say short-tail pythons. I want to see them all, which would include your bloods and everything will fall in that short-tail python family. And you hit all traits. List all traits. Guess how many traits we see. Now, I'm not saying this is all the traits that are out there. This is all the traits that are listed on Morph Market currently. 33. 33 traits. There's probably more than that. If we did more captive breeding, there'd certainly be more things that would show up, I believe. Where they're going to fall short of the ball python is there's just not as much variety out there. You know, there's not as much variety out there, especially at the price point that there is for ball pythons. Everyone wants to talk about the pricing being terrible on ball pythons. And it's kind of like this, right? You got to look at it from a different set of eyes sometimes. If you're going to a show and you're buying, pricing kicks ass right now, right? You can get a really cool snake for not a lot of money, meaning more people will get into the hobby. So here, you're not in that boat, you know, and you just don't have as many colors. If I were to pull it up on the ball pythons, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. You know, some of them are the same damn thing, like Hurricane and Blitz and Trick. Granted, but you know, here you just don't have as much of it. There is some cool stuff in there. I mean, you got some, you know, T-positive albino and some regular albino, similar to ball pythons. You know, you do have some ivories, similar to ball pythons, so a different way of getting there. So some of those staples are in there for sure. And I've seen some really cool blood pythons. Oh, O'Malley's Morphs. I'm going to shout that dude out. He does some awesome work with STPs. He'll also give you a tattoo if you want. I mean, gives a strong word. He'll also sell you his services for a tattoo if you want. So you know, he works almost exclusively with STP. So check that dude out. But there's a lot of morphs there, but it doesn't touch ball pythons. Nowhere near. We have more morphs in our collection now for ball pythons than these guys even list as available on Morph Market. So with that, this is going to be the big detractor, right? And that's hard to catch up to. It's really hard to catch up to. I think blood pythons would have a chance to be right there with ball pythons if instead of 33, there was 133. And if you didn't have this at all. And this will take another probably, I think, 10 years to fully go away. And that's not saying it's going to take 10 years to make them nice. That's going to say it's going to take at least 10 more years before people start assuming they're mean and nasty because of what they read on the internet. So in 10 years, we won't have to deal with this anymore. And then that'll be good to go. Otherwise, these guys are really right there, and it can become, I mean, it can kind of become a buyer's choice, right? What do you like better? Do you like the way the fat-bodied blood pythons look? Do you like the little bit more of a normal build for like a ball python? You know, that's where you're going to end up. But I just don't think these get there with that 33 morphs. You know, I just don't think there's enough variety. Kurt, and by the way, before we ask Kurt another question, we should all clap for him. Because he can actually clap. He can lift his arm again. He can hold the camera again. We're not having to have a tripod do his job. He has been upgraded from his 3-pound weight limit. But that dude does need to keep his shoulder in its socket. That's where your shoulder goes, in the socket, not out. So let's all help him do that. You know, because this is the second time he's dislocated that thing. And I don't know if the third's going to happen. I hope not, because it sounds like it sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, he's shaking his head yes, because he won't talk. But what do you see that's going to keep this from taking over ball pythons? Anything else besides that?
Maybe just the size.
Yeah, because when you have it, when you hear it, it doesn't mean much. When you have it, you can see that 30 pounds from 11 pounds, right?
Because the one thing is, like, if you say you get out like an 8-pound snake and let your kids handle.
Yeah.
Getting out a 25-pound snake and let your kids handle.
Huge difference. You know, and that's a big deal. Like, you know, the other thing that they do have that's an advantage over ball pythons is blood pythons. You know, their feed schedule can be a little different. You don't have to feed them necessarily every week. You can kind of give them a big meal, let them sit for a while. They do not poop as much as a ball python, in my experience. But let me tell you guys, when these things do decide to let that poop go that they've been holding for a while, oh baby. I mean, it is nothing for them to shit a Bud Light can right out there. I mean, it's literally just caca. I mean, it's a turd. They will drop. So that is a little bit disgusting, but it doesn't happen as often. So it's kind of a, do you want to deal with more crap more frequently or one bad crap every now and then? I would take the one bad crap every now and then personally. So that is kind of a nice feature of those guys. Anything you want to add about the blood pythons, Kurt?
No.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. But again, my opinion again, these guys are close They have it, but they're just not going to stack up. They've got that meanness. They have a little bit of a size issue, and there's just not enough variety just yet. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.